Hi everyone, hello, and welcome to my YouTube channel. Oh my gosh, I know I've been missing in action, but I'm gonna tell you a little bit about my adventures from LA to the A. I'm in Atlanta, Georgia, sweet Georgia. Oh my god. I am loving it right now. And you know what? It's been a ride. In my earlier videos, I was talking about, you know, people doing what they want to do. As I began to start doing what I want to do, I encourage others to do what they want to do. Now, I don't know how the audience took it. I don't know whether people, I don't like to think of people hating, but you do get that little Facebook energy, social media energy, where people ain't really fucking with you, and yet they kind of are, but they kind of waiting to see what's going to happen. And, that whole situation when you start to venture out. So, I decided to take a leap from my life and quit my job to pursue my passion, which is fashion. And an even deeper passion that I have is being conscious and being awakened and having knowledge of self and being amongst the great awakening. This is the great awakening, and I'm so excited about it. I am, because it's a beautiful thing to be in. I'm grateful to be in this generation that I'm in. And I feel like we all should be grateful to be in this time. We are the ones who get to set the tone for the future. And we always are the ones, the children are always the children of the future. We are the children of the future. And we'll have children of the future. So I feel like, this is a good time to be alive. I know other people don't really feel like that. I've been running into people with all kinds of theories. And honestly, the theories coming from the people who are afraid. I used to have those same theories. For example, one woman that I met at my job, and just note, when I talk about these things, making a leap for it, like, it's okay to flee, but the thing is, people don't really believe that because they feel like they have nothing to catch them. I'm telling you, when you're fulfilling your purpose, you'll always be caught underneath a net. You'll always have that safety net. But as far as the people who are afraid of living and afraid and, who don't have a level of consciousness, and we're getting there, but there are different levels to our consciousness. And someone who's not as conscious, I can hear it when they talk about it, because they still have those Christianity beliefs. And so I met this lady. She was a Christian, and, but, we kind of conscious now a little bit. So, we know enough to stop giving our money to them churches. So, anyway, she was telling me how afraid she was of, she feared for her future children. And she did not want to have any more children. She didn't want her children to have any more children. She wanted to stop her bloodline. And to be honest, I haven't told anybody this, but I used to feel the same way because I just know how jacked this world is. Like, this world is really fucked up. And I didn't want to have my children having to deal with this. But, once I gained knowledge of self, and there was a road to that, but once I got knowledge of self, those things that I thought, they disappeared naturally. They disappeared naturally, and I'm here to just talk about my journey of coming to Atlanta and coming to Atlanta with no money. With no money, first of all, because some of us aren't afraid to make that leap. Some of us will just get up and move. And so when I decided to do that, I started looking online to see if I could find any information. And I swear to God, I did not know how many people just get up and travel to a new city alone with nothing until I started YouTubing it and, researching it online on the internet. And before I even looked online and did all my research, I knew that this was something that I wanted to do. And I knew that it was a part of my purpose. I knew that I needed a little space too, because I talk about me being that shy girl and that quiet girl, that shy chick and the fly chick within. I talk about that, and that's what I am. But when you're that shy girl, you need to have enough space so you can breathe, because other people will perceive you as this shy person. Sometimes people will perceive you as a doormat. Some people will perceive you as, gullible or weird or whatever it is. And part of that being shy, part of being shy is part of not being who I really am. And I really am more outgoing than I act, I really used to fake a lot. I didn't know that I was faking, and I know that I'm real, but, it took a friend to tell me, don't be fake with me, just tell me the truth. So when I had to start telling the truth, I don't want it to hurt people's feelings, but, that's another reason why I'm shy is because you don't want to hurt people's feelings, and, it's a whole dynamic to that. So with all that, I was like, you know what? I just gotta start being who I am. Just start talking from within and being who I am and doing what I want to do and saying what I want to say. Walk how I want to walk. I'm that person where people used to make fun of my very walk. Just me walking, moving, dancing. Have people, relatives. Little brother, you know how little brothers and little sisters and siblings can be sometimes, and not even whatever you have in your family. I used to have that, people always on my back about me being me and how I move and how I talk and my interests and what I like. And, they think, they try to tell you what you shouldn't like or make fun of the things that you like because they don't think you're that cool and all that kind of shit that, I used to go through. So with all that being said, I needed some space, and, not to say that, they're still doing that. Me and my family, I love my family. Like, we've actually come a long way, and I'm actually opening up to, I'm opening up the love in my life for people and, the people who do have love for me. I'm really opening up to, the core of living, which is all about love and sovereignty and the freedom of self-expression, the stuff I talk about. That's what I feel like what life is about. That's a part of my brand, being free, being your own and being, self-owned, being who you are. Being fully free to express yourself. So when I decided to come out here, before I did all the internet stuff, I was telling my family, a couple of family members. I told my sister, and, I knew that I was going to have to risk being homeless. And she was like, oh, you can't do that, you can't do that, and, you need to have something. You can't do that. She and nobody else had the means to help me, at the time. And honestly, and this is the thing, I was living at my mom's house because I had quit my job and I use my pension, my retirement funds to live off of that whole year in 2019. So around September, October 2019, I had to go back home because I ran out of funds. So, and if I was really in my right mind and really not afraid, I would have moved to Atlanta with that money. I should have, but it's a learning lesson. It's a learning lesson, and these lessons are to teach you, how to do this and how to, and really how you should be spending your time and your money, especially when you're on a path like this and, you're going on your purpose and you're really, if that's what you're doing, then, there's some lessons that are going to be taught to you along the way by life. So that was one of my lessons, next time don't do that shit. So anyway, I learned that lesson and I just moved along with it. And the bigger lesson is to not be stuck when you do make a mistake too. So that was another lesson. So after I told my sister and, my mom and a few relatives and, they all had the same reaction. So I don't want to tell nobody else. I didn't want to tell anybody else, And I started to go to my old job to say goodbye because I'm really close with them. And if you guys are watching, just in case, I love y'all and I miss y'all. But I still stay in good contact with y'all. So I just didn't tell anybody. I told my family members and I left. I left to come to Atlanta. And I knew that Atlanta was full of people who were, into Black empowerment and people who were conscious and awake. And when I got out here, enough said. It wasn't even nothing to say. Like, they know out here. We know out here. Out here in the A, y'all know out here. You know about being conscious. You know about being awake. You know about African spirituality. You know who you are. So that's what I can really appreciate out here is that I don't have to preach too much to anyone out here because, we know. And that's a good thing because when there's no tension and there's more unity and there's, there's no barriers that we have. When you know the truth, you just know. So it's really good to be in this space and to be amongst your own people. Is what I love too. I always used to say about language, we need our language because I feel like we miss out on the exclusivity of being Black by not having our language. That's our code, that's our culture, that's our club. Every culture has their own club, and we've forgotten our language, but it's also good to be around our own people because, it's good to be around people that look like me, as a good change from LA, which I'm not saying anything bad about the other cultures, but, it's time for us to really get out of our feelings because Black people have suffered the most discrimination based on the color of our skin and our culture and the way we look. So I'm just going to say this, it feels good to be in a space of being around my own people and not having to deal with other groups of people. And y'all know how I am about this. Y'all know I'm a lover of people, but I have to say this. It's good to not be around other groups of people for a change who already psychologically have that Black theory ingrained in them. That Black is bad ingrained in them. Anytime I'm approaching someone at a cash register or in a store, or they're watching, as they watch people walk out, or just dealing with everyday life situations. You don't have to deal with people thinking that you're bad. You don't have to deal with, let me make sure they know that I'm not bad. You don't have to deal with those psychological mind games when you guys auras cross each other. You don't have to deal with none of that. And y'all know how I feel because we got some cool people in LA too, you know. I don't say this often, but one of my best friends is Latina, so I'm not really, you know, I don't give a fuck who's offended by this. I've been stopped giving a fuck about that. But all I'm saying is that it's good to be around my people for a change. And, you know, every people deserve that. And black people don't get enough of it, is what I'm trying to say. So it feels good to be out here. It really does. Like, it feels great. Like, I love it. I love being out here. I've been to, you know, when I got out here, let me tell you, booked the plane ticket, a one-way flight, you know. So I went to Spirit Airline and got the cheapest, you know, airline I could find, the cheapest ticket, the cheapest deal I could find. And I got out here, you know, around the end of January. And I've been applying for jobs and all that stuff before I got out here. So I landed a job that week, full-time. You know, everything was cool, so I was set, you know, and I was, you know, relieved that, you know, that landed for me. And this is where your purpose comes into play. When you have a purpose, you know, things will just conspire to work out for you, you know. And that's, you know, that's why a lot of people have a hard time just getting up and leave. Some people say, and I've been having this conversation lately with people, you know, not everybody could just get up and leave, you know, but you know, what if you have to one day? You know, not even what if you have to, but, you know, what if you want to? You know, and you think that you can't. But in all actuality, you can. You know, it's where the mind is. Wherever the mind is, you know, the body and the manifestation will follow. So, I got out here, right? And let me tell you, I was doing research. So this whole video is about me telling you, you know, my story and how I got out here with no money. And if you're on purpose with whatever you want to do, you can do the same thing. You know, it might not even be a purpose in life, but, you know, you might have to serve a purpose temporarily to be here, to meet someone, to help someone, or to do something, or to come across paths with someone. You never know. But whatever it is, you know, as I've seen in those videos, it works out for people. It works out. It actually works out. And this is what I tell people. Do your research on people who quit their jobs to go chase, you know, the career of their dreams, because it usually works out for them. Usually it works out. You know, I see like 90% of the time it works out. So I'm just glad to be in this space because it's working out for me. And I knew it was going to work out. You know, I had that faith, and I also had that knowing that it's going to work out. You know, I do practice, you know, I do, you know, believe in African spirituality. So that helped me along my journey. You know, people thought that some family members thought that my life was falling apart because I quit my good government, you know, state job, and, you know, I quit it in order to, you know, in their eyes, I quit it to sacrifice being broke and to, you know, to just do something that they thought was impossible, you know, and I know that it's not impossible. I know that I had to wait it out, and I'm still on my journey. So this is what I have to say. When you come out here with no money, you have to make sure you have a purpose. Because when I was looking up videos, I was actually looking up some information on how to get out here, or to get to travel to any state with no money. I wasn't getting enough answers. You know, people were writing, you know, that, you know, how to get out here with no money, how to get out here with nothing, with only my car and no money and this and that. And, you know, and when you click on it, it's like, you know, I only had $200, only had $50, only had this, only had $1,000. And I'm like, I had nothing. Like nothing. I think I only had $10. I seriously only had $10, but I had a group of people to support me. The strong sisterhood. If you have not heard of the Womb School, I suggest you go check into it on Facebook. And I think it's Ancestral Arranged Match on Instagram. But check that out because this is a strong sisterhood. This is a conscious awakened group, and we help each other awaken. We hold each other accountable. We face the truth of ourselves, and we serve our purposes, and we defeat whatever standing in the way. And actually, whatever standing in the way is just something to teach you, but we don't walk around being defeated. So I would suggest you look into the Womb School. But let me get back to this journey, though. This thing, I came out here with like about $5 or $10. So I had some help from my sisters, and so I spent time working. It was a late shift. It was like a 2 to 12 shift. 2 to 12 p.m., 12 a.m. type of shift. Standing on your feet all day and pushing carts and this and that. And going back to work, that made me think how much I really appreciate doing this, because I don't want to do that shit. And a lot of women don't want to do that. That job seemed to be the center of everybody's grudge. Like, nobody wanted to sit there and stand up for no 8 hours. Stand up for 3 hours, take a lunch, stand up for 3 hours, take a break, stand up for another like 2.5 hours. That was terrible. And then we're pushing heavy carts and machinery and all that stuff. And, we're working in a warehouse, preparing things for flights. So basically that's what the job was. It was like a warehouse job, and we're pushing carts and all that stuff. So a lot of women work there and a lot of men that work there. So, and a lot of LGBT that worked there. And it was cool, but I only say that to say that, when I came out here also, people were also talking about the men in Atlanta, and I didn't see that. Like, there was some fine men, straight black men. And I'm like, I understand what y'all are saying, but he could be gay. If that's the case, then anybody in the world could be gay. Asian girl could be gay. I could be gay. All Hispanics are gay. All the black people are gay. I'm not going to assume that everybody is gay. And this is to say nothing against the LGBTQ or anything like that, but I'm not, I don't repeat after what others say. Like, if you don't know if you don't know that a man is a man and a straight man, something is wrong. It's like something's off. Like, I don't know what to tell you. Like, I've met some wonderful men. I've met some wonderful men in Atlanta. Some strong men, some fine ass men. Like, I stopped talking to people. But, along with my purpose, I feel like I can't do anything too much because, I'm still waiting on the perfect person. I don't like to settle. I was that girl. I studied princess culture. I've been studying princess culture since I was 5. And along with this being my purpose, I've always been that girl that dreamed of going to Africa, marrying a king, and turning the world back on its feet. And that was my little fantasy. Fuck y'all if y'all laughing. I don't give a fuck. That was my shit that I always dreamed about, up to this day. I'm for real. Like Like that's just me, you know. But even like Nipsey Hussle said, you know, thoughts are powerful. So I'm still waiting on that person, but needless to say, there are straight black men in Atlanta, and they are good men, and they're so willing to help out. Like they, you know, y'all need to take a lesson from that womb school, because all this being fucking masculine and being all aggressive and grudgy and shit, I seen that at my job. Like I saw that. It was like really some women who were really like, you know, we had a couple of fights up there. A couple of fights, so like 2 between some women, but it was like 2 or 3 of them between women and men and straight men, you know, because of the way the women were talking to the men, to the grown ass men, calling them a bitch and, you know, shut up and all kinds of stuff. And this one dude just broke out and called her all kinds of bucket asshole bitches and, you know, all kinds of bitches. And I was like, man, you know, can't really talk to a man, grown man like that. You know, if you were a man, would you want somebody to be talking to you like that? You know, I wouldn't, you know, even if I was a woman. But, you know, being a man, I don't talk to men like that. The way I see them talking to men, I don't talk to men like that. You know, and when I'm in that environment, I see, you know, I see what it is. Like they, you know, they don't have no respect for the black man. They think they do. And I always go on the record to say this because of what people will repeat sometimes, you know. We do look out for each other. They do have respect. They have a hidden respect for black men. I see them after they resolve the issues like 2 weeks later and shit, and they back cool. But, you know, being conscious of it all, they don't give a fuck. And we need to start being conscious of that. So that was my experience with the men and the women. A lot of women are really kind of, you know, there's some sweet women out here, and there are some who are a little bit aggressive for no reason. And I would say they may be a little bit more aggressive than the women in LA. And that's why, you know, I'm glad I came out here by myself, because it gave me an opportunity to, one, speak what's on my mind without having anybody behind me saying shit. And another thing is that it gives me an opportunity to be a little bit more assertive. You know, especially that's something that I'm not used to being with people, being assertive. And I had to tell a couple of people off when I got out here, you know. When I went to a store and got some gum, this lady wouldn't let me choose which one I want. She got an attitude with me because I'm a customer and I'm asking her a question. And, you know, this one bus driver, the way she was talking, like, I asked her a simple question. She said, "What you say?" I'm like, damn, bitch, who you talking to? Like, that's my experience with the men and with the women. But all in all, you know, it is a beautiful black city, and I love it. You know, even with everybody like that, it's fine with me, because I still love y'all. You know, I still love y'all. I love Atlanta. I love people across the diaspora, but Atlanta is cool in my book. Like, I love Atlanta. I know we really, you know, the women are really sweet, because, you know, once you start to open up to them, they actually are a little bit more kinder, and, you know, but people wouldn't know it, you know, based on how they see me and how I see them, which is something, you know, I like to get over. But if I don't, it doesn't matter. You know, it does matter, but, you know, at the end of the day, we all still gonna do what we gotta do. So that was my experience with the men and the women. And you know, I was working beside one guy, and he was from New York. And you know, I was working beside a lot of Ghanaians. I had one guy who was Ghanaian. They're all from Accra, Ghana, and he reminded me of someone. But, you know, he was such a sweetheart. I almost went out with him. Only thing that was keeping me from it, though, was that he was Christian, you know, and I told him, out here, we're just waking up from that. A lot of them were Christian. A lot of the Africans were Christian. And I was like, man, that's a crazy dynamic. Because, out here, we're just waking up from that. And you're here telling me that you are that. It was funny. It was funny, but he's still cool in my book. He's a sweetheart. He's still my sweetheart. We're gonna be friends. I could tell that's a person we're gonna be friends with. Like he's cool, He's fine too. Man, these are some nice looking men, And all the men that I was fucking with are older men, The dude from New York, He's cool. He's around like 35. He's a sweetheart. Got some beautiful eyes. I love a man with beautiful eyes. I think all men have beautiful eyes. All men do. They all did. I just love a man's eyes. I don't know if that's weird or not, but I do. But, I wasn't even trying to talk to anybody, to be honest with you. I'm honestly was trying to keep to myself because of the things that I was going through, me being on my own growth journey, growing with my insecurities and things that I had within me going on. It was showing up in my life, and, I was ugly. I didn't like how I looked, and those first 2 weeks, it was cold as shit. It was cold in Atlanta. It was like 29, 30 degrees, and, I was going crazy. I was like, oh my God, I gotta find some place to stay. I gotta do something. Shit, it's cold out here in this bitch. So, after going through all that craziness and wondering where to go, and, I got a couple of phone calls of reassurance and a couple of phone calls of some lessons that I needed to hear. And, I'm glad that I got those, and I got a lot of support from people, from my sisters and from my family, my blood family, my Facebook family. I want to thank all of you guys for supporting me because, it was a journey. I was homeless, and another thing in those videos that I was doing research about and online and on the internet was that nobody really wants to talk about being homeless. Nobody really wants to talk about being homeless, so I'm going to talk about it just for a second. When you're homeless, I noticed that people slowly go crazy the longer they stay homeless. And, the one thing that stands out with homeless people is that they talk to themselves. And I see that, and it's because, of the embarrassment of being homeless and not having any place to go. They try to justify that, I noticed that they try to justify that by speaking out loud, whether it was to strangers or people they knew or to no one, And I noticed that, and I'm like, I met 2 women, I tried to encourage them to get up off their feet and just go get a job and do something real quick. And, they didn't really take to it, but, it's a mind disease. It's a mental disease to think with such impoverished thoughts and to actually become impoverished mind, body, and spirit. I made sure I kept my ass clean. I'm not trying to be all nasty and stuff like that. It's things people don't want to hear. But I want y'all to know I wasn't walking around down the street with a shitty ass and shit like that. No, I kept clean and fly. I kept my jewelry on. I kept looking nice, And I kept trying to switch up my outfits with the little 7 or 8 pieces that I had, But, and this is one of them because I'm still working on moving all my stuff here. But, it was quite an experience. It was quite an experience. For the first 2 weeks, I was like, I was just, feeling helpless. But then I had to remember what I was doing. I had to remember who I was, who I am, and really just go for it. This was something that I knew it was a piece of cake for me, but when I got out here, it was just, you know, a lot of me wanting attention and stuff like that. And I had to get over that stuff and really act accordingly. And it helped me to be more responsible in the end. And it was a good experience. And as far as getting out here with no money, that guy that I worked beside, who was from New York, you know, this is where the story gets interesting. You know, now don't judge me, but from time to time I do partake in natural herbs. So I told him, you know, gosh, you know, they don't have any dispensaries out here. Like, I'm not used to this. Y'all don't have no dispensaries? As many black people as there are out here, y'all don't have no dispensaries? And he was like, no, we ain't got no dispensaries. But, you know, I was like, well, shoot, do you know somebody? Because we were talking for a few weeks now. He was cool. You know, he was real cool. I found him, like, one of the coolest ones out of all of them. Like, he was super cool, down to earth, you know. He was from New York, got that. I didn't even know he had an accent until he told me he was from New York. And when he told me he was from New York, I was like, man, that's so cool that you don't talk all extra like that. Because I met another dude from New York a long time ago in downtown LA. And he was kind of an asshole. You know, he was kind of an asshole. He was trying to keep me out all late. And, you know, I'm talking about like 4 o'clock in the morning late. Like, you know, he wasn't to my liking. So I just stopped talking to him that same day. You know, I met him I think I met him like 2 or 3 days ago. And, you know, he was a fashion designer. So that's what got me talking to him. You know, the truth is, I don't know if he even was a fashion designer. You know, niggas be lying sometimes. So, you know, he had this extra accent. You know, he was like, yo, son. Yo, yeah. He was like, you know, they don't wear those sweaters out there. Like, and this dude who's from Brooklyn, New York, he told me, yeah, niggas like that, they not usually from, you know, I think he said they from the state or something. They not from the city of New York. They not from the city. They from the state or whatever like that. They usually the ones that be talking like that and all that stuff. But his accent was so cool and demure. I was like, you know, he was cool. You know, he was cool. And, you know, so he said, I'll give you my number. And I said, okay. So, you know, we linked up and, you know, partook in some herbal healing, you know. And then, you know, I didn't have a place to stay. And I was like, you know, I didn't even have to say anything. He just gave me a blanket. He said, here you go. And I was kind of explaining my situation to him, you know, in the beginning. And so he kind of understood, you know, and at the end he would let me stay over there for about 3 to 4 times out of the week, every week, until I got this place that I have now. And I'm so grateful for that. And you know, it really does, your energy really does prove that, you know, you attract who you are. You really do attract, you know, the people who are supposed to help you on your purpose. And these niggas will just fall out of the sky for you. Like, even my ex, you know, he was such a good example of a first boyfriend, you know. And even the people to come, I don't know who they are, but, you know, what I feel is that, you know, I have good energy coming my way. You know, you can't turn down good energy, you know, and powerful energy at that. Powerful energy. I love men of power. You know, there is nothing sexier, nothing tops a man with power and a man who knows how to use it. Like, that's my weakness. That's my weakness. But, you know, all in all, you know, it was a cool experience. You know, it was a really cool experience. The money that I made, I got the job. When I first got out here, I wasn't too worried about making money. I was trying not to go into my old way of thinking, because I know this is a part of my purpose. And this video might serve you. It might not serve you. I don't know, because I don't know what you're looking for. But when you click on this, this is how I got to Atlanta with no money. $5, $10, really nothing. It's something though. But, it was probably gone like the next day. I had people to help me out for real. Like, it was an experience of being vulnerable, allowing myself to be helped by others. Because I don't usually do that. And it was just a journey of self-discovery, of self-mastery, and really learning the depths of myself. I know a lot of people are afraid to move. A lot of people are afraid to quit their jobs for the fear of being homeless. I know that. And you see people who are impoverished, and you feel like that is the proof. But it doesn't have that's not the proof. Some people will be on their purpose, and some people may not be on their purpose. It's up to you to take care of yourself and to find out what your purpose is and to be on your purpose. I suggest you also check out the Ancestral Way Masterclass and Study Group, because they have they have things to help you find out what your purpose is from an African viewpoint, from an African centered space. That's how I got here. I'm telling you, like, there's nothing like having knowledge of self. There's nothing like it. I'm so grateful to be out here, and I can't wait to see where else I'm going. My next stop is going to be Africa soon because of this coronavirus and this thing going on here in the U.S. I'm not going to stick around for it, and I don't encourage you to stick around for it. We all need to be having a great exodus, a great mass exodus. And, I approve that message. I encourage it. This is what we need to be doing. We need to be waking each other up, and we need to be, proactive and helping each other out. I've got some help from some wonderful people, and I owe people, I owe them because of my growth, and I also know that I owe myself too, but it's nothing like having someone who understands and having people to help you out when you need it the most. And I thank everyone for that. And I'm going to go ahead and check out of this video, but thank you for watching. It was an experience, and I've only been here February, March, April, about 2 months and a week or so, and it's been good. I love the weather out here. I saw snow for the first time. Got a little thunder, a little rain, and a little sunshine. Like, I do see that they get all 4 seasons out here. I love it. I love nature, so I'm loving the greenery out here, all the trees, all the fresh air, and getting to experience the South, the countryside, and just having fun with my people. Getting to know new people and staying connected with people. So thank you for watching, and make sure you subscribe to my YouTube channel at Lovetta Janeine right here. Make sure you also check me out on Facebook at Lovetta Janeine, and follow me at Lumen Chic Princess, where I make fashion, clothing, and jewelry, enchanted jewelry and unique fashion. And I'll be getting back to selling and I'm still selling a few ringlets right now, actually. You can inbox me on Facebook for that, but I don't have anything else available right now, but I will be getting back to it soon as I get my stuff, boo. So thank you for watching, and I'll talk to you guys soon.